All right. Hello again. Back to Santos Apartment Homes. It's been a couple days since I've worked on this project. Let me go ahead and check my GitHub. And I actually did make a couple of changes since last time, messing around with the form to try to get it working properly. I updated the README so it has a bit more info. So I wanted to go ahead and revisit this and kind of go over what I've done so far with the form. And in order to even know that, I'm going to need to get everything opened up. So let's go ahead and do our standard. We need to start Postgres, so WSL, start Postgres as usual. And start sudo service, PostgreSQL start. Put in my password. npm run start server. npm run start auth server. And npm run build watch. And to go over quickly again how all this is working, npm run start server is running our nodemon server of the back end of our website. This npm run start auth server is a separate server that's handling our authentication. And our third npm run build watch is our compiler that uses Webpack and Babel in order to make it compatible across all browsers and make sure that we have access to all the different ES5, ES6 syntaxes. So once we put all that together, we have our localhost 8000 application, which redirects over to home automatically, and we have welcome to Dos Santos Apartment Homes, join the biggest family in Washington State. From here, we have just a bit of a simple CSS with some basic components. We have the About Us component, the Contact Us component, and the login. So currently, this is what our login page looks like, and inside our email, we can see that it is pre-filling with a couple of pieces of data. I actually don't want it to pre-fill, so let's see if we can figure out how to take that off. React, form, remove, pre-fill. Let's see. Copy, autocomplete. Let's see. Supported by React, include autocomplete. Cool. Let's go to email. Let's see. And say autocomplete equals false. Now, do I put in false like this? I believe so, because this will allow us to put in, because this is JSX that we're working in, which is kind of like looks really similar to HTML, but it's in some type of JavaScripty formula. In order to use the actual JavaScript, we need to put these curly braces around it. So if we save this and we run it again, what was going to happen? We still get our prefill. So let's try again. False, it doesn't seem like that's working. So far, our autocomplete is not working. Okay. Autocomplete to none. Let's try that and see what we get. Refresh. And cool. So now we don't have this autocomplete on. And also, after taking a look at a couple other forums, this email and password fields being filled out like this, it's generally above and under each other and also a lot less wide. So this auth div, I actually want to maybe lower this down to like 400 pixels is what I've seen on a couple of other applications. So let's go ahead and take a look at our CSS in our public folder, CSS, auth div, uh, max width, min width. Okay. This is, and width is 50 vertical width. Let's just remove this completely and just set width to 400 pixels. Save that, refresh. This is not what our form looks like. Does not look too great. So now we need some more padding because we can see everything's brushing up right against the edge of our application. Look at that highlight. It's just bumping right up against it. That does not look great at all, especially at this bottom here. We want some space there. So we got two things when it comes to CSS. We have padding and we have margin. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's see what is what. If we scroll down over here, we're going to be able to see we have margin, we have border, we have padding, and padding right here is the space in between the actual content and the outside of where the border's at. So right now we have some type of margin here from the top of 150 pixels. We don't want it leading up right against the top. Let's go ahead and put some padding around. So I'm going to put 150 pixels of padding. Let's see. Let's go at it right here. Padding, 100 pixels. Save that, see what it looks like. That means our content only has 200 pixels on the inside actually because um, we have around 400 width here and the padding, oh, okay. Border is 1 pixel, so 1 pixel on each side. The inside is now um, -2 pixels, which are 398. So let's see. This, not display. Um, see border box sizing. So we have two different types. We have content box and we have border box. I kind of let's see. So border box tells the browser to account for any border and padding in the values you specify and in elements width and height. Set an element's width to 100 pixels. That 100 pixels will include the border and padding you added, and the content box will shrink to absorb that area width. So I believe this is what we want actually because uh, let's just say in our application, we said that this whole thing is 400 pixels wide, but it's actually only this content that's 400 pixels. That's going to make it a lot harder for us to really know exactly how far some items are in between. Like if this were 400 pixels and we had an extra 50 pixels of like padding and border right here, if we were to try to calculate the space in between a second element of the exact same size next to it, it'd be really difficult to really know exactly how far apart they're going to be between, if they're going to overlap. So this actually is what we want. We just don't want a padding of 100 pixels. It's just too much. So let's go ahead and lower that down to 50. That means we're going to still have around 298 pixels on the inside. Uh, Save that and refresh this. And now let's take a look. Now, yes, so we have 298 pixels of actual content inside. Our text is bleeding through our padding though, which is pretty interesting. But the space from the submit button is a normal distance now, which is good. So I'm actually going to want to kind of start centering all of this content. Hmm. So first of all, let's go ahead and take out this Dos Santos apartment homes things at the thing at the top. I don't feel like that's completely necessary. Um, I actually do just want to fill this in with some type of logo and do that. I'm actually just gonna go into my imager. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to go ahead and check what images I have, see if there's something I can just use as a placeholder for now. Some type of icon. Let's see. Hey, diversity committee. Let's go and take this. This is just something I made for a committee at one of my previous jobs. Well, I copied the right one. I'll go ahead and so right here, this format is to create a link for it. I don't really want that. I want to actually display the image. So you want to put here image source is equal to this. And then just because it's temporary, pixels. Let's go ahead and do this and just inline style this with the width of 100 pixels. Let's refresh it to see what this looks like. A little small, not too bad. Let's do 200 pixels and give it some um, padding of, let's say margin. Margin, so around it, I want to put an additional 100 pixels. So that should take up 400 pixels wide. Okay, well this looks more like a normal form, I guess, but where this down to 50? Oh, 500. Let's not do that. 50 pixels. Okay, so that looks a lot better. Next thing that's more standard is to have this email actually above, not right next to the input fields. And that's just going to be email one line, the input field, password one line, the input field, and then submit at the bottom. So let's go ahead and make those changes. I think I can do that by just making this entire div display flex. So let's go ahead and do that if it's not already. Style CSS. Display is flex. And then, see, right now flex direction is column. Let's set this to row. Save this. And let's take a look. If it's a row, then it should just be one line for each item. And honestly, I have the opinion that if you have to assume and just see what happens, that's okay every once in a while, but for the most part, you should know exactly how your items are going. So column is actually going to be the up and down from what it looks like. Row is going to be left and right. So I do want column. So that is my apologies. It's going to be flex direction column. And so what's likely happening is that I have a div that's surrounding this email um, and the input field. Let's see, I have a label, email, input. Okay. Now, the question is, can I separate the email and the input? So what happens if I do this? Let's save this, refresh. It still comes out like this. Let's take a look. Okay, I don't need the nav bar. I want this auth div. Okay, so the form itself is a container. And inside of the form, it's just regular HTML. So I want to change how all forms look. So what I need to do is I actually need to create a style for forms itself. Form style display is flex, and hopefully someday I'm going to learn CSS grid, but I haven't really found a case where that would be necessary. And was it flex direction? Yep, flex direction is also column. So let's go ahead and save this, refresh, and see what this looks like now. Cool. So now email is on a separate line. Now I want password on a separate line. Password, password, password. Type password. Let's move this into one line. Get rid of this. Have this input moved in. Move this one in. Save this. Refresh once more. Cool. And now we have a much more normal looking CSS form. And also because we have the padding actually already set on this with 50 pixels, um, do I really need the padding for the diversity committee section? I feel like maybe not. So let me pull up an Excalidraw. Likely it's gonna have some DSA thing. We'll just get rid of that. Um, so when I take a look at this form, what I see is this box right here, and also I'm just gonna quickly check really quickly. I am actually streaming, which is good. Um, so right now, what I have is I have this actual form here with 400 pixels, and inside, hopefully, I can have a different color. It has a padding of 50 pixels on every side. And I'm gonna set this to blue because um, this is the actual box. Just my content is going to be inside of here, and inside of my content, what I want is for my image to be held up here, no matter how big it is. And um I actually want my form to be on the bottom side over here. That way this submit button that I have is actually going to be lined up 50 pixels from the bottom because that's going to look really clean. Now, no matter how we size it, we can visually see that there's 50 pixels at the top and bottom. Other than if we had this held right here, this pixel could be anything. It's just going to be a maximum of 50 pixels, but we're never going to be able to like see that unless, people are just messing with the screen size, and then all of a sudden this entire thing is just squished up to it. Anyhow, um, this the interaction that I want to make it look good all the time is for this. So in order to do that, we need to actually make the spacing for this in between. We want this element and this element inside of this div to be on opposite ends of each other. So to do that, let's go and take a look. Let's figure out how do we use it. Oh, it looks like a space between, not in between. It's another good reason why it's always good to have this document just ready in case you need it. Space between and justify content. Justify content space between. So let's go ahead and do that. Inside of this form, we have label input. We have this extra break here, which puts in an extra space, which I do like. I like this extra space here. It spaces things out. But this and this are just one element each. This is the entire form, and this is just an image. So we can space those out properly. Let's see, image, form, perfect. And now we want to, so that's going to be on auth div, and then, what was it again? But justify content space between. Now if we save that, the the interaction we'd hope for is that this circle is going to be right up against the top and this form is going to be right up against the bottom so that we have 50 pixels. So let's go ahead and actually change things around a little bit more because let's see, we have min height of 400 pixels. Um, and that's the only height we have in there, so that's kind of strange. Let's put min height of like 600. Let's just put height as 600 pixels and just do some math. How big is this image? I'm gonna take out the margin from this, but it's around 200 pixels by 200 pixels. So this is 200 pixels, this form itself. How big is this div? Um, I don't exactly know, but it's smaller than 200. So 400 would be enough, and 500 with the padding on the top and bottom. So from the image, let's go ahead and take out this margin. Save this, save this. And now there shouldn't be too much space in between here. It should look pretty good. Cool. So now they're put out onto opposite ends. The spacing up here is 50 pixels and spacing down here is 50 pixels. The spacing, not my favorite. Let's go and make this height 500 pixels. Save again. Okay. This is pretty normal looking form size, I feel like. Maybe they have it a little bit longer. Um, let's actually just go on to a couple of websites and hopefully I don't just blast all my information everywhere. But okay, let's go into incognito window, go into PayPal, and see what their login looks like. Okay, so they just have email first and then password. I think that's more consistent with how. What happens if you just put in some random data? Okay, well, you can still try. So this is not the format that I want. So let's check a different website. How about something like Yes Style? This is like a fashion website. Um, let's see. Okay, it just took a few seconds to load apparently. Let's try signing in. Okay. They have this little green highlight over here, gray background. Mm, I want to say 1 pixel gray border with some very small box shadow, just like right at the bottom here. Just really, really slight, but right underneath. So the top itself looks really, really clean. We have these new member thing. Um, okay. We can sign in using here, and then we have his email address and password. So I guess this is if I could get this effect going on later, that would be really nice. Green login button, sign in button that spans across the entire thing. Pretty nice. Um, okay. And normally it's above. So this is a really good reference piece. What other websites are there? I'm gonna guess Google's sign in is the exact same by saying they're both Google with Google bought PayPal. So oh man, what else is there? Actually, is it? You know, I might just be talking out of my butt right now. Um, PayPal, Google. Let's see. Let's see. It's founded. It's PayPal founders. Good old Musk. Musk. Key people. Nope, it's just its own completely own entity. eBay? Oh, then it became an independent company again. Okay. Wow, complete misinformation by me. Okay, so PayPal is a completely its own independent company, and it was previously owned by eBay for a while between 2002 and 2015. Huh. Well, anyhow, sorry for that tangent. Um, what other companies are there to look for? Um, Wikipedia. What do you look like? Login. Interesting. I don't know. It's been a long time since I logged in. Sometimes I donate to Wikipedia, but I'm currently in the process of looking for a job, so not really the best time to be donating. Um, yeah. I think Facebook's login is yeah, not really what I want to see. It is surprisingly simpler than I expected though. I'm actually really surprised it looks that simple. Um, average day when I go onto the internet, what do I even look up? I just don't even know. Yeah, check out GitHub. GitHub, I have it as on black mode. Really simple though. Green login button, username or email address, password. Okay. So I should add these bottom buttons. Yeah, terms of use, privacy policy, terms, privacy policy, security. Go to GitHub, create an account. I like that. Um, what other websites do I have just linked into here? Algo Expert. What does Algo Expert looks like? Algo Expert, log in. Huh. So it seems like you have to um, going through that. Weak code. Okay, very gray, very blended in box shadow. We have the sign in buttons, leak code at the top, nice logo, username or email, password. I should add some placeholder text right here. I don't really need the username, email, password thing. Um, okay. This site is protected by Recaptcha and the Google privacy policy. And server terms of service apply. Cool. And then this footer down here, these are good things to know. Like, what do these footers look like? Okay, so leak code is only one with a footer down here. Um, it's pretty nice. It just makes the page look more full, even though it's just a login page. And header is the navbar is still there, not on all these other ones. So I feel like for my site, following something like LeetCode is not too bad, especially because it just looks so plain on the login site. Even GitHub's looks really plain, but it's such a functional application that it should doesn't actually matter too much. Um, yeah, with ours being more of like a apartment homes complex app, I think it's nicer to have it. Let's check. Let's check our thing over here. Check these two websites. See what it's like to log in here. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second, just in case anyone would like to watch. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this into a couple of my friend groups. That also means I have to find this live stream. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at what these the sign-ins for these look like if they even have it. Let's see. Lake Tivoli. It looks like Bridge Property Management doesn't let you log in. Yeah, it looks like you have to go into the property website. Let's see, we're on Lake Tivoli. Check availability. So looks like they have one bedroom, one bath for $1,800. That is expensive for a one bedroom, one bath. If I want to apply, what happens? I log in, email, password, really simple, nothing crazy. Looks pretty. So I guess this is another format. Just nice big header on top with a really simple login form on the side with just a few more details on the side, like why are you even logging in? So maybe I do want to go with this type of format instead of something like GitHub or LeetCode's login format. Let's see with this one. Let's see, I'm trying to find a place in Federal Way. And so let's go to Sound View. View availability. So I'm still on WashingtonWidener.com, but I'm wondering if this exact path is on a separate server. Is type of like a microservices type app where things are divvied up depending on which page you're at. So, okay, so if I have a question, then I can send them my information. I can't necessarily log in, which I feel like is kind of hmm. Okay, how do I apply? So I'm applying. I want this one bedroom, one bath. There doesn't seem to be any available apartments at this moment. I don't like how it's just down there. It's really hard to see. Let's see, do they have any apartments? They don't. Let's try a different place. The Cove, view availability. Three available now, $1,845. I guess 1,800 is the norm for one bedroom, one baths in Federal Way right now. Jeez. Okay, so if I click apply now, I can set the term of the lease that I want. It seems like 9 months, 12 months, doesn't matter to them right now. If I apply to move in today, then I just have to start this whole application and go through the process. So I'm probably going to take this as reference later on what information I need, but it seems like you just have to fill it out in one go. You can't really just log in and have that information saved. I'm gonna make it so that you can. But looks like that's not necessarily the norm, at least for these two websites that I looked at. I wonder if there are more recent applications that I could find for property management. But for now, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. There's no login at all for the Washington Widener website. So let's go ahead and close out of those. So for now, I just have a whole um, placeholder icon right here. Probably put something else there later. Email password. I do like the placeholder. I do like having a placeholder thing just to say email and password rather than leaving those fields there. But I also need to make this a darker gray. If I jump over to this one, I like this shade of gray. And yes, styles is also pretty nice. Um, if I could have this effect, that would be nice. I'm going to go more with this lead code style, especially as having this header up here. I feel like it'll fill up the space a bit better because my page looks okay. I do have the header here, but it's like a darker color. Again, if you can tell, I am definitely not a designer, but one thing I did notice as well is that it's either no border or a gray border, so I should go ahead and change that as well. Um, and what color palette am I using for my thing? If I had a darker gray here, that would be really nice. I don't believe I do. So one thing I could do is I could just take this color and turn down the transparency. I'm curious what that would look like. So back to my auth form, I have this div and I just have this background color set here. Um, this is definitely more of a temporary fixed type thing. Now if it's hex, I think I can just set it to like 10% and that should just lighten it up so it's not so dark. Or it won't count as a color. Let's see. I want to change this color to be have less opacity. Yeah, usually just sticks on the end like that. Um, React inline background color transparency. I guess I can use RGBA. Interesting. I should keep color palette. I'll keep that. Delete out. Exit out of those things. Refresh. Okay. Save it at 10. Maybe I just refreshed too early. Okay, so just getting a little bit darker. 25. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be a little too dark. No, not bad. Not bad at all, actually. So the thing about just keeping all the colors more consistent is that even with this homepage that I have right here, I did put some like overlay on the colors of the image itself just to make sure it's like more in line with the color palette I have here. I think with like this blue and like this orange, I just use like a splash of it just to like a little bit more orange on the outside here, a bit more of a cool blue on the outside here, just to keep all the colors consistent. So I feel like doing things like this, like making this being a lighter shade of this color, is something that, it's not too noticeable, but it's something nice. Once the app is all built, all these little things should add up to hopefully create a more appealing app. Okay, cool. In any case, I do need to restyle this button as well. But let's go ahead and remove these labels and just put placeholders. So placeholder, apparently all lowercase, is going to be email or username. Obviously, it's going to be email, but um, username or email. I'll just say email. It's just kind of short, which I don't like too much, but it should be fine. Placeholder, password. So why is it giving me an error here? Not sure what I did wrong there, but hopefully that works out. If I press enter here, now I have email and password. And let's see. I don't like how the buttons are styled. This one's a little bit wider actually, while this one is really bumped up against the letters. And the border is also that lighter gray color. So yeah, let's go ahead and change a couple more things. Form CSS. So this is one thing that we can always use, just a form template. Oh geez, definitely not that one. This is a good way to see some examples of how people are creating their forms, like this one, this single line down here. Um, I also I really wish I could, I mean, I say wish as if I can't do it, but it would be nice to have CSS and style, what is it called? CSS loader and style loader to just help break up the application a little bit more. This is something that I really didn't know if I wanted to spend the additional time to um, really start building in these CSS and style loaders, but I feel like it might be worth it because I want to add in a lot more things with these forms, but adding it all into the style CSS, this thing's going to get really, really busy. If I have a separate CSS file for just auth.js that I can import right here, and just say um, import auth.css, this would be really nice. This would be really nice if I could just import it. I can import the style and really just have this separate form CSS added onto my auth. But I don't have that capability right now, so I'm at a pretty big impasse right now on how I want to actually design my application. And the more I think about it, the more I also feel like I should have just done this earlier because now I have to kind of rework with everything I have in here. I also have a couple of regrets, like how I did this right here. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of refactoring that has to get done within this application. Also, I don't need this pass hash anymore since I can just set the input type to password. It's going to go ahead and do that for me. Maybe I'll need it later if I wanted some more customization, but who knows. For now, I feel like I am going to have to adjust this CSS and everything. So for now, I'm going to just do some really basic additional styling to make it look a little bit more appealing than this. This darker background already is helping out a ton. I don't like how big this bar is here at the top. I want it to actually be smaller. It looks really, I feel like it looks good here. This is how I want it to look. Mm, but, hmm. I like how it looks up here. I don't like how it looks over here. But it definitely needs a space if I want to keep these effects. Do any of these other bars for the... Are any of these like comparably big? This is comparably big actually. GitHub, navbar, comparably big, but it does not look nearly as obtrusive as this. You know, it's actually not. It seems like it's around the same size, but it's really not. So I think there's some navbar restyling I have to do. Obviously, this is like a e-commerce website, so it's gonna be a little bit different. It's bigger, sure, but they also have two rows. So where do I want to start? There's a lot of things I can do right now, and I guess I wouldn't necessarily consider this analysis paralysis, but also having to explain things out, each and everything out, is definitely taking some additional time. First thing I want to do is I want to make this border less obtrusive. I'm going to turn it to another shade of this color, like how I did this background. So let's go ahead and just do one thing at a time. I'm going to take my this full div, no, navbar, no, this auth div. So auth div, border color. Do I have that? I don't. I do. So border color is now, right now, just this color. So let's go ahead and turn this to 50. Actually, instead of that, I don't want it to make it like less visible. I want it to just be a lighter color. I just want to move it more this way. Oh, something like this. 3241. Okay. Oh, I don't even know what's happening anymore. Okay. 3241. You know what? I'm just gonna put it to a gray. I feel like I'm overcomplicating this. Just give me a lighter gray border color. I don't know what like the standard um shades of gray are. Let's just do that. See what it looks like. Refresh. It's a little bit brighter than the back, so we don't want that. Change back to 8. That looks fine. And now the box shadow, I also just want to make it um now I want it to, let's go to the MTN reference. I just want it to be under and not over. So if I just say 0 pixels. Okay, so this is going to be the one I want to change. So it's going to be 0 pixels and then 5 pixels because I don't want to show it at the bottom. So 0.55 looks like this. I still don't like it very much, but it definitely doesn't show at the top, which is kind of what I want. So let's try it out and see what it looks like. And especially because it's the exact same color, it should just blend more. Okay, well, it's definitely less obtrusive. And, I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe I can even push it up like a couple pixels, so there's a really tiny bit of shading, but it should be noticeable to the eye. Yeah, that's super slight, but it definitely looks better. I'm actually gonna lighten this up a bit too, actually. Like a lighter shading. It's barely noticeable, but there's something going on. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it at that. I'm satisfied with that. Okay, now that I have this really subtle shading going on, in terms of sizing of the forms, is this just comparably normal? So, as far as I can see, there's a pretty big range. So, I guess the rule of thumb is just make it as big as you need it to be. Okay. I like this font. I don't know what font this is, but I wonder if I can find it. And styles, font family, Apple system, Blink Mac system, Sequoia, Helvetica. I do like Helvetica. Apple color emoji. Um, yeah, hey. Account password reset. I like how I can just see the href right there. Okay. Form class, form. Can I see styling here? Not too much. Okay. Form. Hmm. Well, I can see the forms here, font families here, so maybe this just seems like it's not even for, it's just not a standard font. So the main ones I see are Helvetica, Arial, Segoe. That seems the most normal. Segoe UI font. It does look nice. It does look the same. It's very round. Very nice kind of round. The U. Okay, so it does seem like the right one. E is very blocky. The hyphen's a little bit lower. I don't think that shows higher. E. So its bottom spacing is a little bit bigger than the top. Yeah, it seems like it's probably this one. Or CSS. So because I'm on a Windows, I wonder how. Let's see. I don't even remember putting this Museo Sans. Um, okay, I shouldn't get rid of it. Um, let's check again. Font family, I can just put commas, import multiple. Oh, hey look, is Tahoma Verdana. Nice. I do like those fonts. So if I just save it like this, how is this going to change? Nothing. So let's see. CSS font. So I specify some different fonts for 3 paragraphs. How do I use this? The font family property should hold several font names as a fallback system to ensure maximum compatibility between browsers' operating systems. Oh, I see. So it's going to try the top one. If it doesn't have it, it's going to move on to the others. So in that case, the body is generally going to be Apple system. If it doesn't, Segoa is the next one. What I feel like I'm seeing is Segoa because obviously I'm not on any kind of Mac, and um, yeah. So in any case, Segoa UI. That's what I'm generally going to try going with. So I'm going to take this out, save this. That means default should change for here. Oof, not really the biggest fan. Okay, so instead of that, I'm gonna go on to form and change font family. Save this. So now inside of my form, all the fonts should be this. This is going to look like it's back to normal, how it was before. When I refresh this, it should give me my... Oh, such a slight change, but so much better. Okay, next thing, change the border color of these to the same lighter gray color, and make the input box a little bit bigger. Now, this input is a React component, is a React thing. So, one thing that I can do is I can define my input style is equal to an object up here. And you can say border color is equal to, why don't I just use this lighter color? Border color and height is going to be 1.5 em. Save this, and now for each input, I can say style is equal to input style. Style is equal to input style. Save this. And see if this works out the way I expect it to. So here, cool. So now we have the lighter color. The height of the actual input didn't change. So I did try to change the height. So, I just closed out of a lot of stuff. I'm also going to put this in a different tab just so it stops getting in my way. And let's see. Hmm. First, let's go back to localhost and go to the login page. And I need to add a border radius too, apparently. Input. Again, it's a React class, so I don't want to go ahead and define this CSS file from what I understand. So I guess I can just say border radius 2 pixels. comma, save that. We'll round it off. Gonna make it 4 pixels, save that, refresh. Okay, I'm actually just gonna do 3 pixels and save it, keep it at that. What else do I want to change other than that? I'm fine with the. Is this actually just 1 pixel thickness? It's this border. Pixel border width 1 pixel. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why the default is like 2 pixels or something. Doesn't look too great. Also, I apologize if this is loud, but I'm gonna munch on a cookie. Oh, I have padding. So no height, but padding instead. Ooh, nice, it works. I want a lot of spacing. Oh yes, that looks satisfyingly thick. Now these buttons look a lot better. Placeholder text are in there. If I start typing in, we're good to go. Cool. I'm curious how I put in the little eye so people can see if people want to see their password as they're typing it in, they should have the ability to do it. Okay, another thing I want to check is I want to check is this really only 50 pixels that it's keeping it from on each side? Let me try setting width 100%. Oh, 100%. Sorry. Wait a couple seconds, press enter. It looks like it is, but it's not. So I can see here that hmm, React input width. But this form here is full size. Hmm. So it looks like I should be able to set the width. I wonder why it's not working here. Um, because my form here is just like limited to a certain width. Let's see, form, display flex, flex direction column. Hmm. Instead of setting this, I can go into my form over here and actually just put width 100%. And remember, this is 100% of whatever space that it's inside of. So what I'm hoping is that it's 100% of this space inside. So like around 200 pixels. Or this is 200 pixels right now. So I guess around 300 pixels is what I'm hoping for. Go ahead and refresh this. And okay, cool. Now it's actually going across the full length. Is that a little too big? Let's see. My other tab is going to... So yeah, this actually does come up pretty close against the edge. And okay, I like this transition hover effect. Those are things I can work on later. So for now, maybe the size is fine. I do wish I could have more stuff under here. So privacy policy in terms of service. These two Google. Okay, so I can just go ahead and link these over across. But I guess that's something I only want to do if I use this recaptcha. So I wonder if I can just go ahead and log in here. It doesn't even send me to the recaptcha, but I'm gonna guess that if it felt like I was being insecure about my login, then there would be a problem. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and use the bathroom real quickly and get some coffee, so I will be taking a short break and I'll make sure to come back afterwards. Probably be like 5-10 minutes. Testing, testing. All right, well, that was a longer break than I was expecting, but that's okay. All right, now we're back. Let's see where we left off, because my memory just really does not go that far back. All right, so here we are with our little logo, fill-in logo. So now it's extending the full length. I don't know if I want this button actually being this full length. Let's take a look at the other websites. This one is a full length, sure. This one it is as well. This one, sign in, also full length. So okay, maybe I won't worry about that too much. Add a little bit of box shadow in, switch it to the same. Let's add the orange color that we have. I haven't used that yet, and this is a perfect place to do it. So go back here, palette colors. Yes. Have this. And on submit style equals background cool background and then box shadow. Let's see, 2 pixel, 2 pixels, 3 pixels, and the color I don't want it black. Again, I want it like 888888. That should be fine. So it's not called box shadow. CSS shadow, box shadow. Oh, comma. And after that, I should actually put it in here. Type value style equals submit style. Save. Move here. Refresh. Oh, that is border style none. Do I want a border style? Definitely not whatever border that. Bless me. Okay. Now, biggest thing is I want to put the text white and for all this, I want color to be the text color to be white and text decoration bold, CSS bold, font weight bold, and I want border radius 3 pixels. Let's see how that looks. All right, now I got to make this a little bit thicker. All right, put some margin on that. Margin? Padding. Padding. 10 pixels. Ooh, too big. 5 pixels. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so when I click it, so active is black. I don't really like that. Let's see. Now let's make sure I'm doing this right. Let's go ahead and try to add in a new on hover. Nope. React on hover, CSS. Let's see, on mouse enter and on mouse leave are the way to go. I see need for an additional wrapper content. Here's how I implemented it. Make a party, we came with solution, and to define styles. This define styles to hover for etc. Oh, cool. Let's try that. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the border style with a border color of 888888. Transition, transition, CSS. I don't want too many S's, that's okay. Transition. Okay. How do I use this ease in? Ease in. Mission timing function ease in. The div element has also specified a transition effect with the width property with a duration of 2 seconds. The transition effect will start when the specified CSS property width changes a value. A specified value. Property, duration, timing function, delay. Simple example. Okay. For focus. That's pretty cool. Something good to keep in mind. Okay, so before I get too lost into this, transition all, and I think I have another transition in here, right? Say ease in and 0.3 seconds. So this, let's see. Also just to check. Okay, so every time I submit it, so test at test.com, test, submit this, and I get an object of test.com and password of test. See, can I copy and paste this? No, I can't. Okay, that's good. Okay, test and test.com, border style. Let's go ahead and add this hover feature into the proper spot. Save this and see if this works. It's not. What if I save transition here and I change those? React input hover transition. Hmm. There are two different technologies that appear in this question, CSS plus HTML. They work without React just because. Hmm. Yes, instead of doing all this, I could just put in a class name. Let's see. Again, if I wanted to do that, I'd have to do a lot of refactoring, which I guess I should do. I will get into more of these things later. So I'm going to comment these lines out for now. Save this. Let's see. Basic look of this isn't as bad as before. Let's go ahead and just submit this as is and update my GitHub. Git branch. See what branch I'm at. I'm at auth form. Git delete branch. Let's see. Get the to delete the local branch. Let's see, if the branch contains unmerged changes though, Git will refuse to delete it. If you're sure you want to do it, you'll have to force a deletion by replacing the D with an uppercase D. You don't use git branch to delete a remote branch, use git push, and even if that sounds weird, here's how you do it. It's like you're pushing or sending the order to delete the branch to the remote repository. With that out of the way, we'll now explore the deletion of branches and Git in some more full depth. So I'm going to go ahead and hold off on reading that. This is a basic answer that I want, but I should also save this. Seems like a pretty good resource, so I'm going to go ahead and save this into coding resources and get slash GitHub. And maybe I already have it there and I just added a duplicate in. Okay, well I do have a similar article from a different website. Alrighty. So for now, let's go ahead and get branch, delete, create DB, get branch, delete, create DBs, get branch, delete, readme update, readme update, get branch, delete, redux, get branch, delete, refresh key, get branch, delete, route update. I'm sure there's a more effective way to do all that. Get branch. See what we got left. So we have auth form. This is all the auth form. So git add, git commit with a message of form updated, git push origin, auth form. Cool. Now GitHub. Go ahead and confirm. Send the pull request over to development. Merge it in. Delete the branch. And now what I want to actually go ahead and do is get checkout development. And I haven't ran a pull on here in a long time because see a lot of stuff got deleted. I don't have very much. So git pull origin development. Let's go ahead and pull all these changes in here. Now merge branch development into development. Please enter a commit message and why this merge is necessary. Updating development. Let's see. That's interesting. Okay. I did need to delete the package JSON from uh yeah, I definitely needed this to happen, so it's obviously been a while. So git npm run start server, npm run start auth server, npm run build watch. Cool. So let's go ahead and make sure that this is working on the development branch. Let's go ahead and open up our console to make sure nothing crazy is going on. And then test at test.com. Test, if I submit this, then I can see the email and password is submitting the correct data to my console log, which is all my onSubmit is doing currently, which we can check right here. Handle submit. All you're doing is console logging it, and eventually you want this to be sending to the database, but not right now. So I guess the last thing we can go ahead and check is just open up a new terminal here, and then start exiting out of a lot of stuff because I feel like this is about as far as I'm going to go for today. I may actually just go ahead and do the refactoring off of stream, and then once that's completed, kind of show what's been done. But let's go ahead and let's see. Last thing I want to do is we want to go into Postgres. So inside here, oop, right here, sudo u Postgres. Oh, I didn't type in PSQL and Dos Santos. Select all from users. Select. Oh, okay. So we have this running. Let's go ahead and run some uh, postman requests to make sure this is still working as well. Okay, so first of all, sign up. What happens if we try to try sign up with an email that already exists? Let's send it. User already exists. Too bad, can't do it. Let's say 09. I feel like this should be a new one. Cool. So we submitted an email with email 209, JNYK209 with a hash password. You're not really going to be able to do this unless you undo all the salt rounds and everything like that. It's going to be too much work. Please don't try. Just because I said it. We have the password right here anyway, so yep. So once we go ahead and create an account, let's go ahead and actually try to log in. When we log in, let's go ahead and put in 09, and the password is GenRK210. Cool, we've logged in and we have a refresh token and an access token. So now we can go ahead and run this API request, but we need to send in this access token. So I send in this access token. I send this over. This is the API route and it has cleared the middleware, which means cool, we have access. And let's go ahead and try one additional thing. Let's send in this refresh token right here. See if we can get a new access token. We don't necessarily need one yet, but let's go ahead and just get one anyways. If we do that, then let's see what happens. This key is going to be valid for 30 minutes, but I also went ahead and generated a new access token, which will be valid for another 30 minutes. And this one will also clear. If we put something different, if we're missing a character, then we will get the forbidden. And from there, we can also go ahead and log out, which means you are no longer able to create any additional refresh tokens. So let's go ahead and put in this refresh socket hangup. Haven't seen that one. Connection refused. Let's see what our console says. So destroy cannot read properties of null. So that means it's already been destroyed. So what that means if I tried refreshing it right now to get a new access key, access token, it should fail. So as long as that's the interaction we get, then we should be good to go. I'm not sure why I got that socket error. Connection refused. So at this point, I think the app is just broken. Forbidden. Login. Yeah. You cannot send headers after they are sent to the client. So I had a similar error to this before, and this happened on the refresh token. Let's go ahead and rerun these servers and see if we can recreate the error. So let's go ahead and sign in. We have our access token and our refresh token. With our access token, we should be able to go ahead and send API requests. It is, and now let's go ahead and take this refresh token. Actually, I think it was on logout that it broke. Let's go ahead and send this. So we're able to generate a new access token. With that access token, we can go ahead and re-go in. We could say something wrong, it doesn't work. Send in the correct one again, it works. And now, if we take this refresh token, We can keep generating more. We don't need to. Let's go ahead and send the refresh token here. And user is successfully logged out. And that means if we try to send in another refresh token, we now get the forbidden error message, but we can also re-log in to generate a new refresh token to be able to create additional access keys, access tokens, and these access tokens will allow you to go ahead and do more things, but then eventually you are going to need to log out. So we'll go ahead and take the refresh token, go into log out properly, and again, you will be logged out. And if we try sending this again, what happens? We tried to destroy something that does not exist, which means that we are breaking the entire server, which is not what we want. So let's go back and go into our server, into our auth, take a look, and on logout, okay, so now here's our problem. We have this if statement to check if the refresh token exists, because if it doesn't, then we need to send an error. But we are sending a refresh token in. We're just sending an invalid one because the user is already not there. So when we run this, user token is being returning undefined. User token is undefined, and undefined dot destroy, or excuse me, null. This is returning null, and null dot destroy just is not anything, and it's just forever awaiting this. It's not like actually returning, so we're not exiting. Uh, I don't want to 100% stick to what I'm saying right now. I don't exactly know what the interaction is going on here, but because we're awaiting something that never completes, it looks like that we just get stuck in here forever. It's going to break the entire server. So what we're going to do is say if the user token exists, then we can go ahead and do these things. And and if that doesn't happen, then we can go ahead and res.send status 400. So res.status 400.send user is not logged in. Correct? If you don't send a refresh token at all, then we can just send a 400 because they're just trying to do something weird. But if somehow we're not able to find this refresh token relationship, um, and this user token just straight up just doesn't exist. User has already been logged out. And of course, if someone is just trying to do some funny business, then this necessarily wouldn't mean that they've already been logged out. But if someone's just using this portal and somehow tries to log out twice with the same refresh key, then we can just tell them that the user's already been logged out. You're not really able to run that command. So last thing I want to go ahead and check is actually what is a 400 status code. It's a bad request, and that is indeed a bad request, so I agree with that. So now let's go ahead and rerun our auth server, rerun our regular server, and try doing this one more time. Let's go ahead and log in and log out. Try logging out again. We get another socket hang up. What does this mean? Now, will this stop us from making any additional requests? Login. Connection refused. Yeah, we need to return this so that we're not staying in this forever loop. This is refreshed. This is refreshed. Let's go ahead and log in again. We log in. Bit of our body. We're going to get these refresh tokens. Now, if we try to log out using this refresh token first time, it'll succeed. We're good to go. And if we send it again, user has already been logged out. So now we're just getting a 400 status code, bad request. They're being logged out, but the server isn't freaking out or anything like that. So that's good. So, okay. And again, if someone wanted to just like play around with this and delete random lines, um, then we can just say the user is already logged out anyways, because that's not really legitimate use of this log out feature. And there's nothing malicious that I could think of that you could actually do, because all this database is interacting with inside of this delete route is this refresh token database area. So if someone has some in-depth knowledge on how this could break the application, please let me know so I can try to address it. But for the most part, um, since all you're doing is deleting refresh tokens, um, this should be completely fine. So now that that's fixed, that means after even multiple failed login attempts, we're still able to log in later and still interact with our application. This return thing, definitely really important. So let's just go ahead and also return right here. So now that all that is done, our application is good to go. Let's go ahead and git add, git checkout branch, and create the branch. Let's see, auth logout, git commit, fixed logout, um, server. What is it called? Socket something? Socket hang up. Git push origin, auth logout. Okay. Now that this is fixed, that's a fluffy Kirby. Go ahead and back into GitHub. Check our Dos Santos apartment homes. Put this back into development. Delete that, and we're good to go. So now Dos Santos apartment homes is a little bit more secure, is prone to one less error, and its login page looks just a little bit better. So cool. I think it's a good stopping point for here. I'll continue to work on the logout, and I may go ahead and refactor it in so I can have a separate CSS file for each of these components. That way, we're just a little bit more separated out on exactly how much CSS we're adding to each screen, because it'll just keep getting complicated and more complicated. So having all of this in one single CSS file would start to look pretty ridiculous, I feel like. So I'm excited for the change. Hopefully I'll get that added in the next couple of days. I'm going to be start working on a couple more projects that aren't related to Dos Santos apartment homes. So that is going to take up some additional time. So it may be less frequent that I do these type of live stream videos for this project. But in any case, feel free to keep an eye on my GitHub, JinYK226 on GitHub. And yeah, look forward to continuing to make progress. A little bit of an update. I added a little bit more info to my GitHub just so it's a little bit more appealing to the eye. You can tell I don't have a crazy number of stars or anything like that. Feel free to start any of my projects and keep track of my progress as I continue to code more and more. So thank you so much. Eventually, I'm hoping to also integrate Jest into my application as I continue to build it out. But in any case, take care, have a good rest of your day, and wish everyone the best. Peace.